Hey there, everybody. Welcome to another edition of What's Hot with Sea Tranquility. I'm your host, Pete Pardo, publisher and CEO of SOT. Today's Monday, the 19th of November. We've got another new product show coming at you today here. I wanted to kind of break these up instead of laying 15 or 20 of them at you all at once. I figured I'd break them down, kind of did more kind of by genre. We got all sorts of metal and extreme metal here on this one. So strap yourself in. Here we go. The first four are actually all from Metal Blade Records. Thanks to our friends at Metal Blade Records for supplying us with some great new stuff here today. The first one is the latest from Polish black / death / thrash / prog juggernauts, Behemoth. It is called I Loved You at Your Darkest. And of course, when it comes to Behemoth, they're not going to like kid around with the anti-Christian imagery and stuff. So I'm just going to quickly take you through the booklet here. Nergal and company, all sorts of crazy stuff here as always. I would say that Behemoth are probably one of the most popular, as close to mainstream acceptance as you're going to get for an extreme metal act, along with maybe Cannibal Corpse and Dimmu Borgir, that sort of thing, right? And I know a lot of guys who are fans of underground extreme metal probably now have cast aside Behemoth because of that, but their music is still pretty damn good, I think, and not too far removed from what they've always been doing. It's bludgeoning black metal with plenty of death metal and thrash elements going in, but Behemoth have always kind of had a little bit of a prog thing happening as well, a little technical aspect of their music. I really dig this album. It's brutal. It's kind of majestic in spots. They have some keyboards here and there to add some kind of cinematic flair. The vocals for the most part are pretty brutal, but there are some melodic vocals on here as well. Just another really strong Behemoth album. Lyrics, love it or hate it. If you don't like the anti-Christian stuff, the satanic stuff, then Behemoth is not for you. But another really strong album. I mean, I think they consistently pump out pretty good stuff. Next one is, and you know what? Bear with me a second here because I forgot the title. The Outer Ones. That's it. So the latest from, because you can't read any of these things on half these CDs. The latest from Boston's technical thrash / death metal veterans, Revocation, The Outer Ones. This is a great album. These guys have consistently pumped out some really, really challenging, brutal music that just has so much class and expert musicianship. It's just hard to ignore these guys. It really is. Dave Davidson, the leader of the band, he sings, and he's one of the two guitar shredders in the band. They've had shuffling lineup changes over the years, but he's managed to keep the band together, keep the vision going. This is another really, really solid album, just full of great extreme metal tunes that they literally like bridge the gap between death metal and thrash. But there's some amazing guitar passages on this album. They get into this brutal, thrashy, extreme metal kind of arrangement, and then all of a sudden, like, the guitar lead comes in, and it's like kind of jazzy, kind of proggy, breathtaking in its like execution, just shredding stuff that's just so gorgeous to listen to. And then at other times they just kick in with these just brutal riffs with all these really intricate and complex passages. Just a really, really good album from a band that just keeps on pumping them out like this. Really, if you've never listened to Revocation, I guarantee you'll like it. If you can deal with extreme metal and you like thrash, check these guys out. I think you'll dig them. All right, this one. The band is called Anaal Nathrahk. I believe that's how they say their name. I've heard them a couple times over the years. They've been around for, I think 10 or 15 years or something like that. A New Kind of Horror is their latest release. They're basically a duo. Okay, a vocalist and a multi-instrumentalist. They usually have some people helping out, whatever. These guys are like off the charts out there. This is like some of the most whacked out, brutal, psychotic, violent music I've ever heard. These guys use it's like a mix of like industrial, black metal, death metal, grindcore, hardcore, cinematic, prog, you name it, all thrown in, all hitting you from every angle. The album's barely over a half hour long. By the time you're done, you'll be shaking your head dizzy, thinking, what the fuck just hit me? Okay? The vocals, there's some clean vocals here and there, but for the most part, it's like shrieks and screams and rasps and growls, all this maniacal screaming all over the place. Amazingly symphonic keyboards, brutal guitars, blast beats, I mean, all sorts of stuff. This thing, from start to finish, is just so chaotic, you'll be breathless when you're done, and you'll be like, what did I just listen to? Perhaps the craziest album you'll hear this year. Go check it out. Again, it's called A New Kind of Horror. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. You may love it, you may hate it. I don't know if you could ignore it, though. Next, the German collective known as the Ocean Collective. They formerly were just called the Ocean, but because they've got so many members kind of coming and going, they've decided to call themselves the Ocean Collective going forward. Panerozoic 1, Paleozoic. Another kind of like, these guys like to put out these like half-hour, 35-minute little almost like EP type of things that like part 1 and part 2 a couple months later, and then they'll do it something else. So it's kind of a concept-y thing. These guys are a pretty cool band. They kind of blend like hardcore and post-rock with prog and progressive metal and ambient electronic. Do all sorts of really cool passages, a little bit of sludge, a little doom here and there, kind of a little bit of everything. If you can imagine like early Mastodon, but with more of like a sludge and post-rock and doom kind of thing going on. Kind of similar, but not. A lot of electronic stuff happening. Very, very interesting music. These guys, I always enjoy listening to their albums because they're just so thought-provoking and they're just very, very different. These guys kind of like occupy a different spot in the universe from so many other bands, especially like on Metal Blade. So I like this. Check it out. If you're in for something a little bit different, I think you'll like this album. It's kind of experimental, kind of cool. That's all the Metal Blade stuff. We got a couple from our friends over at Cruz del Sur. First one is a Chilean doom metal band, King Heavy, Guardian Demons. If you dig old Sabbath and Cathedral and Trouble and Pentagram and St. Vitus, I think you'll like these guys. Slow and heavy. They're not reinventing the wheel. They got some vocals that might, rub some people the wrong way. I'm not completely sold on their vocalist. He does like this high register operatic wailing, and then he comes down, and then he goes back up again. It's kind of bizarre, but the tunes are good. They're real heavy. A lot of guitar crunch if you're into that sort of thing. So if you like doom, check that out. Next one from a band from Greece who've been around for like a million years, it seems. Battleroar, Codex Epicus. Traditional metal from these guys. They've kind of stayed the course of what they've been doing for like 20 years now. Think like Manowar, Manila Road, maybe early Iron Maiden, that sort of thing. Galloping rhythms, a lot of cool guitar solos and riffs, and vocals are, wailing vocals, all that sort of thing. Epic stuff, pretty cool. Think you'll dig it. Again, Cruz del Sur. That's all we got for this episode. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're here on the mighty YouTube as often as possible. We got another new product show coming up in a little while that's going to focus on some kind of jazzy stuff. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.